Every single day, there are thousands of cleaning business owners putting their blood, sweat, and tears trying to watch their baby succeed and scale to multiple 6 or 7 figures, only to watch it burn money and fail. Now, I've been running Celebrity Maid for the past several years, and we've seen the key differences between those that scale versus those that fail. And in this video, I'm going to break down 17 cleaning companies that failed and look through the exact mistakes that they made so you can avoid these same mistakes and get off on the right foot. So mistake number 1 is going to be they didn't track their data. Now, the famous Peter Drucker once said, "What gets measured gets managed." And the crazy thing is, so many business owners are notorious for just not tracking their numbers. Whether they hate doing it or they just don't know what metrics to track, they avoid doing it. Luckily, there's tools like ChatGPT and Claude that can build you your own data tracker if you have no idea what to start tracking. Just give it some context about your business, consider what the other top cleaning business owners are tracking, and ask it to build your own spreadsheet if you need help. But these would be things like weekly revenue tracked, your cost per booked appointment, your booking conversion rate, right? So all of these things are very important. And I would say the mistake that a lot of these business owners made was they were running on gut instinct instead of actual data. This is really dangerous because if you're just making decisions because you feel like something's not working or you think that this could be performing better, you're never going to know how to make proper decisions. Emotions lie, but numbers don't. Now, mistake number 2 is going to be not profiting. So the truth is, you guys could have the best marketing in the world. Maybe you have Russell Brunson himself creating your own websites or funnels. Maybe you have Jordan Belfort on your sales team closing deals left and right. But if your business is not set up to make economical sense, meaning actually making money and profiting, then you're just going to burn everything. And the thing with the cleaning business is you have a lot of things working against you, such as razor thin margins, trying to stay competitively priced because there's competitors everywhere, high churn, high employee turnover rates. All these things can be a nightmare if you don't know how to manage them properly. But making sure that you have enough profit in your bank account at the end of the day is going to save you a lot of headaches. So there's really 2 things that you can do to increase your profits. You can either raise your rates or get people to purchase more times, aka recurring cleans, typically speaking. So I want to talk about the first one, increasing your prices. And this is very underutilized, especially with people in the beginning stages of their cleaning business, because they just want to get as much people coming in as possible. So they think, hey, if I price competitively, I'll get more clients, right? But I'm going to show you why this is a mistake that will really show itself later down the line. Let's say you're charging $120 per cleaning. And let's say you get 100 leads a month and you're closing 40% of them, right? So that revenue would be 40 clients times 120. That gives you a revenue of about $4,800 a month. So now let's look at what happens when we raise our prices. Let's say you bump your rate up to $180 per cleaning. So that would be a 50% increase. Now, naturally, your conversion rate is going to drop. So out of that same 100 leads, you might go from a 40% conversion rate to a 25% conversion rate. So only 25 of those leads actually turn into new bookings. So now our revenue, we take 25 times 180, and guess what? We're at $4,500 a month. Almost the same exact revenue as the previous example, but with nearly half the clients. And the reason why this is so important is because, well, one, higher paying clients are just typically better clients to deal with, meaning they're typically going to complain less. They value quality over price. They tend to stick longer. And the other benefit of having less clients overall is that now your team is actually less likely to be stretched out too thin. So this is going to give them much more of a breather. You might notice their performance and overall happiness and productivity go up, and just less operational drag. All right, now mistake number 3 is going to be taking too long to follow up. So I want you guys to imagine a scenario where you're at home and you have an emergency plumbing issue. Let's say your toilet water is starting to come out of your shower drain and it starts overflowing. It's nonstop. You got to do something quick about this. So you hop online and you call the first 3 plumbers that you see. Now, let's pretend that 2 of those plumbers didn't answer your call, only 1 of them did, or even yet, let's say all 3 of them didn't answer right away, but 1 of them at least texted you back or called you back almost immediately after. Who are you going to go with? It's going to be the guy that contacts you back quickly. Now, while cleaning is not typically as urgent of a service as emergency plumbing, the same principles apply. The business that can get to the lead, respond to them the quickest, is going to win that job 10 times out of 10. And I want you guys to imagine a graph where, let's say, the top of this graph is going to be your highest degree of converting that lead, and the bottom of the graph is going to be your least likelihood of converting that lead. Well, at the top of the graph, after about 5 minutes, your likelihood starts to dramatically decrease. And then after the 1 to 2 hour mark, forget it. It almost doesn't make a difference whether you respond to them 1 hour later versus 2 days later. So the mistake that we've seen with businesses that failed is they often didn't have a process in place to follow up with leads quick enough. Now, luckily, this can be solved with either using automations in your business or just hiring a virtual assistant who focuses on this role specifically. This will make huge differences to your bottom line. By the way, guys, if you would like personalized help in scaling your cleaning business without the guesswork, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. Check it out to book a free call with myself. We'll chat about your business, your challenges and goals, and see if our system makes sense for you. So check out the link. Otherwise, back to the video. All right, number 4 is going to be lousy offers. Now, the truth is most business owners don't really know what an offer is. They mistake just a description that's too self-centered as an offer, or slapping a 15% discount as an offer, but that is not the case. So I want to give you a before and after comparison of a typical lousy offer versus a great offer. So let's start with before, the description focused. A cleaning business might write something like professional cleaning, affordable prices, reliable team, get 15% off your spring cleaning. The problem with this is, first of all, it sounds like everyone else. There's too much of a business-oriented focus, meaning it talks too much about who we are versus what you as the customer get. Also, just heavily relying on discounts is not a good idea, because I'm sure you don't want to discount your prices, first of all, but also it's just not tangible for the customer. So now let's transition this to a great offer. This could be something like Spring Deluxe Home Makeover. So immediately we're giving it a proprietary, sexy name. This helps us stand out and gets more attention. Free oven plus refrigerator cleaning included. Ooh, that's tangible. That's exciting. Available this week only. If you're not 100% satisfied, we reclean at 0 cost to you. Get a free quote in 60 seconds. So this immediately has so many things working in your favor. The proprietary naming, the urgency saying it's this week only. We have a risk reversal, right? So with the guarantee, plus getting a quote in 60 seconds. So that's allowing these people to get a quote with ease. So reduces friction. So this is going to perform better than the lousy offer that everyone else is doing. So now mistake number 5 is going to be making it hard to book. So let's pretend a lead sees your TikTok video, or they watch your YouTube video, a blog article on your website. Then they click over, you're interested in your service, so they click to get a quote, but then nothing happens when they click that button. Well, just like it's important to follow up with leads quickly, it's important for leads to be able to book or request a quote with your company quickly. So the common issues that we've seen are either technical glitches or just having a website that's not optimized to convert leads. So on the technical side, these could be buttons that don't work. These could be page load times that are too slow. Maybe the calendar embed, there's an issue with the code, so it's not working properly, right? Whereas on the optimization side, these could be things like, first of all, just not having a button to request a free quote. I know that might sound crazy, but some people just have either their phone number on their website, or worst off, it's like buried in the contact us section. There's nothing on the home page, no call to action buttons or anything like that. So that's a huge mistake. Also, not describing the services clearly enough. So a lot of people think that cleaning is just easy to understand and they don't need to explain anything else. But the thing is, your prospects want to see the difference of, let's say, a deep cleaning versus a standard cleaning. They want to have a sense of what's included. They want to know roughly how long it takes, what the quoting process actually looks like. So this is all valuable information that should be on your webpage that some people just make the mistake of avoiding. Now, mistake number 6 is what I call the solopreneur ceiling, aka wearing all the hats in your business. So every one of these these failed cleaning businesses hit a wall when the owner became the business. This is a really hard part in a lot of people's business journey, because on one hand, it feels good knowing that you have some leads coming in. You know that there's a demand for your service. You know that your schedule's getting full. But if you're the person who's still doing everything, it's just a matter of time before you burn out. So if you're cleaning every job, let's say, well, that leaves you no time left to actually work on the business. You're just stuck working in it. Now, let's say you do outsource the cleaning, but you're still doing everything else, such as the scheduling process. So maybe you're talking to leads all day, booking them, following up with leads. That could easily be several hours out of your day, just stuck in that mindset of booking where there's other things that you have to manage. Then let's say you're doing the marketing yourself. So now you're stuck all day learning about new platforms, trying to launch a campaign takes you 4 hours to do because maybe you missed a button. So now you're on YouTube trying to watch tutorials, whereas you could have just outsource that or use certain tools to help with the process. Then there's handling payroll and admin tasks. So the admin work crowds out the strategic thinking that your business actually needs when you're just, focused on the numbers. So your mind is being stretched in all these different directions. And as I said, this is just a recipe for disaster. So these business owners failed to outsource a lot of this work, and they kind of waited until it was too late, unfortunately. So if you're in this position, make the jump, get good talent on your team now. Yes, it might eat into your profit margins a little bit early on, but this is going to be a very strong foundation for you to build your business moving forward. So now, to tie a big ribbon around all of this, I want to discuss some of the successes and basically opposite things that you could do to these mistakes to make sure that you're really off in the right direction. So one of the most common positive traits I've learned is that these businesses had consistent marketing year round. So they never stopped advertising, even during busy seasons. And they also didn't blame slow seasons on why they weren't getting leads. They believed in the process and they treated marketing as a fixed cost, not an optional expense. Number 2 is building real offers with urgency. So again, avoiding the classic description offers or business-centric types of offers, making them more value-based to the customer and putting some urgency to get people to take action now. Very important if you want to maximize your lead flow. Number 3, following up within minutes. This is absolutely crucial. Otherwise, you're going to be leaving several thousands of dollars every week or month on the table. So these people had systems in place to text back leads immediately, or they had a virtual assistant to handle this. Now, number 4, focusing on recurring clients. Guys, this business model is not made to close a job and make a ton of profit immediately. No, it's quite the opposite. What this business model has as an advantage over just about every other home service business is the recurring aspect. If you can get a client to hop on a cleaning schedule for once a month cleaning, once every 2 weeks, or once a week cleaning, that is really where you're going to see the value in this business. So these business owners had a process to maximize this. And number 5 is going to be building systems early on. SOPs, booking softwares, and team training. These were set up before they felt like it was too late, where at the end you're trying to scramble and get all this stuff built. I've seen that mistake countless times. No, these people built it on early on, not after the chaos hit. So ultimately, all of these companies failed because they were guessing. They didn't have a proper foundation, and ultimately they were just reactive instead of proactive. Now, the 6 mistakes silently killing cleaning businesses. The question is, which one is killing your cleaning business? Luckily for you, you can skip a lot of this trial and error, whether it's generating consistent leads, knowing how to close these people at a high percentage. Maybe you're even unsure about how to price your services appropriately. We have a system to help you out. And in the description of this video, you can click to book a free call with myself. We'll talk exactly about your business, see if our system makes sense for you and how we can work together. So check it out. Click the description below. Now, as I alluded in this video, having a proper website for your cleaning business is one of the quickest things you can do to make sure that you're not scaring away leads and losing business. And luckily for you, I created a video that talks about the perfect cleaning business website. Check it out. You won't want to miss it.